Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit sports encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
She told me that I'm not enough. She left me with a broken heart. She fooled me twice and it's all my fault. She cut too deep, now she left me scarred. Told me not to do my way.
Does this song
And now it's no yeah.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show. Today makes sense as the day to trade Darnell Nurse. However, the Oilers are just terrifyingly bad on July 1st free agency. So maybe the 3rd or the 4th would be the better day. We'll talk about Darnell Nurse. We'll talk about World Cup soccer. Go Canada. It looks like the Netherlands are doing pretty well today, too. If you're a fan of the Dutch, we got that and more. Talking Elks 3-0. All straight ahead. The Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select 2026 Sierra 1500 models. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. All right. Ordinarily, I would do the introductions and begin the show in a very specific kind of way. I don't have the internet, and my computer is not opening my page. So we're going to wing the show, and it'll be brilliant, but brilliant in a new way, an innovative way. First of all, I'm going to introduce my cohorts in a normal fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a great guy. We would have traded him, but he has a no movement clause. And he says, the only way he'll go is to be traded to the Miami Heat. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody.
All right, let's have a good show.
All
little
right.
double duty for me today. I got to book I'm working on the Krueger show as Connor is away on vacation. So going to be in the process of booking that.
Oh, well, if you're busy, you're busy. You just let us know, okay?
All right.
That middle finger you use effectively just says, we're not ready right now. And we also have a man who we couldn't possibly trade, even if a first-round draft pick was offered. We couldn't do it because we don't know what he does and we don't know the knobs he turns. We just know he's very successful at it. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
Thank you. Yes. When you start thinking you're irreplaceable, that's when you can get replaced. So I just keep trying to learn new things and, be like, oh, man, I hope they don't replace me if I do this.
Well,
and that's basically my life.
My experience in radio has been that, you just stay below a certain event horizon.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's always, somebody else.
Okay.
All right, here we go. I want to start talking about the World Cup because I think, Canada winning in the way that it won was the big story of the weekend. It was, you want to say it's an exciting game, but I was very nervous and yelling at my television. And for some reason, I was an expert in soccer all of a sudden talking about passes that weren't, as crisp as I'd like them to be, which is kind of obnoxious, I'm sure, if you were sitting beside me. But it all ended well. In the round of 16 is historic for Canada. I don't know which one of you wants to take it first, but let's talk a little bit about Canada winning over South Africa.
Yeah, I'll go because, again, I remember last year I got very stressed at this time of year.
I remember that he was. Is that the day he knocked your phone out of your hand?
No, Connor was here and a witness for that. That was during the playoffs, 100%. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I managed to see the most exciting part of this game, which was the stoppage time. I was in and out and about and around and stopped for frozen yogurt. And I said, whoa, honey, please, let's just watch stoppage time here in the froyo spot. And just in time to see the goal go in. Every time I've seen a header from a defender this year to get the ball out of the zone, I feel like it is converted into a goal
quickly
100% of the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, barbecue sauce. Great goal. First goal in 2 years for, I can't say his name.
I can't either.
Okay, lovely. I'm glad we're in the same spot. Declan, are you able to throw us an assist here?
Eustachio.
Estacchio. Thank you. Steven Estacchio.
The best Portuguese number 7 in the world. Take that, Ronaldo.
Yeah. The Froyo place did not have sound, so I had to create my own. Estacchio, first goal in 2.5 years or something like that. So all the credit in the world to him. Went back and watched like whatever the highlights in quotation, the passes and things. But also from the breakdown of the footy insiders that I have now begun following on Twitter, was that like doesn't sound like South Africa really tried all that hard to go out there and win this game.
They played their style of game. It's kind of sit behind the ball, take advantage of the chances when they come. They didn't do that, but they very much played their style.
Canada was unable to complete the kind of passes I thought they'd be able to. Was that something South Africa was doing? Being that I love soccer and played soccer, but don't know enough about soccer to answer it myself.
I played soccer too.
Yeah, I mean, there's just kind of like a harsh reality. It's like, we weren't watching France, Brazil.
Right.
France, you know what I mean? Like, listen, what just happened is awesome.
That's fair.
Where you look at this team 10 years ago, it's unbelievable to see what Canada soccer has become, and who knows how deep they go. But I just think it is kind of, it's a footnote when you think back to the game and what we watched. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. It's incredible for the patriotism we have in this country. That was not the Champions League final. That was very much Canada versus South Africa in a soccer match.
First round of 32 win ever, by the way, by any country ever.
I liked the Canadian coach saying, they asked him if he had any advice for the United States, and he said, "I don't care."
Yeah.
I love it.
Fair
I love
enough.
that.
I mean, like, and then of course, like the Twitter discourse that you were a part of after the game, LT, he called them Canadian heroes.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Me either. I think that you
Spec had the take of the year on that one.
I mean, I had been texting about or tweeting about Terry Fox, who, like I said, is the greatest Canadian of my lifetime, and he is. But I think that we, my hero when I was a kid, Bobby Orr and Paul Henderson, and they meant a lot to me, and I couldn't skate with a Tinker's Dam, so they didn't inspire me to NHL player, but they inspired a lot of people, and these young soccer players are going to inspire young Canadians too. And hockey's problem is that it costs too much. Soccer costs, it does, but it doesn't cost what hockey does, especially if you're a goalie. So that was, for me, one of the big stories. The other one we talked about, obviously, on Friday, but the Edmonton Elks are 3-0. And we've talked about, are they the best team, second best team? I don't know. But what I do know is that at this point in time, the Edmonton Elks are showing everybody that this is a brand new day. This is a team that can win more than one way. They still have room to grow. Offensively, I think they could be more creative. I talked to Eddie Steele about that this morning. Eddie knows a hell of a lot more about football than I do. And he was like, yeah, no, I agree. We need, there's going to be opportunity there for this team to do more things offensively as they get comfortable with each other. So if you're an Edmonton Elks fan, coming up on the 9th of July, the next home game, check it out, because this team is real and they're very good. And I don't know how high they can fly, but at 3-0, you remember that often they wouldn't get a win or maybe one win in the first half. This team could head to the playoffs, maybe a home game. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But if you said to me now, this is the foundation of a team that will eventually win a championship, I'd agree with you. I just don't know if it's this year. Edmonton Elks are money. We should get to the Edmonton Oilers. It's 12:09, Lowdown with Lowetide. I want to talk about a few things in regard to the Edmonton Oilers. Lots of rumors out there about, Nurse going here, there, or everywhere. And I think that they have to be getting close now because players are moving. But looks like Werenski is going to be traded out of Columbus. That's going to take a little bit of time to take care of. We'll see a team like Dallas, how they're going to handle things. They've got to offload some money if they're going to make anything work. So those shoes have to drop. But Darnell Nurse is in play. We've heard Boston, we've heard Philadelphia, we've heard Anaheim, and lately we've heard San Jose. Do not know if Nurse is lifted for San Jose or Anaheim, but those are I think that, and I say this every year, and this year I'm really vehement about it. I don't think the Edmonton Oilers should make a move on July 1st. You know what you're going to say? They have needs. Sure they do. They absolutely do. But can you tell me honestly the number one free agent goalie or the number one goalie available in trade right now? Of course, the answer is no. We don't know that. Look at the Stanley Cup final. So unless the Edmonton Oilers absolutely know, they know 6 ways to Sunday who the number one goalie available is, I think it's fair to say keep your powder dry until the 6th or the 7th of July, or maybe even make a trade. You could make a deal at some point. Maybe Michael DiPietro or remember Devin Levi. Kosa's gone, but there's others. There's the sprint to free agency and the sprint to make a big move that costs a lot of money has been the go-to item for the Oilers since Milan Lucic in 2016, where they signed Milan Lucic and then traded Taylor Hall. How did that work out? And there's a litany of examples over the years about the Edmonton Oilers at free agency signing a guy who, I'll be honest, looks good. I was pro Andrew Mangiapane. I was pro Victor Arvidsson. I thought those guys would work out well. Now, there sometimes is a injury caveat to the story, but the Oilers, quite frankly, have not done well in July 1 free agency. One of the reasons is the general manager and the coach didn't seem to be on the same page a year ago. They signed Mangiapane, and then late they signed Roslovic, and Roslovic was the preference for Coach Chris Knobloch during the year. So using that as an example, where you sign Mangiapane on July 1st and you sign Roslovic on October 9th, wouldn't it be wise for the Edmonton Oilers to spend a little money on July 3rd or so, and then hold back about $4 or $5 million for what might come up late in free agency or early via trade during the regular season? Since we have absolute abundant evidence that the Edmonton Oilers as a free agent shopper on July 1st are not successful. I mean, it is, you couldn't get clearer evidence of that. And no disrespect to the general managers. They signed Zach Hyman. That's a hell of a get. But you're spending a lot of money and you don't have a lot. And I think that free agency has become a crutch for this organization. Lots of reasons why. They've traded a lot of draft picks and assets. But this year is a terrible pool of talent, comparatively speaking. And there's a lot more money because of the cap. You are absolutely going to get hosed, or hose yourself, I guess, if you're the Edmonton Oilers at this point in the year. Wait. There's nothing so important out there. You're not going to get Claude Giroux. I think it would be a really good get. You could offer sheet Maverick Bourque, but there's no evidence the Oilers plan to do that. Take your time. Trade Darnell Nurse when the deal is right. Get as much cap room off your books as you can. If you can trade Darnell Nurse at $9.25 for Michael DiPietro and there's no retention, that's a great deal, in my opinion. And then you move forward. All right, 12-13.
I have breaking news for you, Tide.
Go for it.
Hearing Toronto is closing in on an extension with Troy Stecher. Sounds like it'll be $1 to $1.5 million.
He's a really
breaking news.
He's a good defenseman. I that's a great deal for Toronto. A lot of people were, I remember being surprised by how many people in the analytics community who were really down on Chayka as an option. And I think he's done okay. I mean, I'm not saying he's perfect. I think he overspent on the trade for the defenseman, but you needed a guy and you got a guy. And I like Stecher. I think that's a good, he's a third pairing guy, but he certainly played well here and he can move the puck, and that's what they need. They need more of that. So they got another one. Good for Toronto. I wanted to talk about the draft a little bit. I wrote about it at The Athletic, and it's up if you want to read it. I think that the Oilers got the guys they wanted based on how far down the line they were. I believe they're very excited about their first-round pick, the Latvian. The problem with a pick like that is that the ceiling is not high. And because of that, you're probably going to be dealing in a third or fourth line guy. Because if a guy isn't scoring in the USHL, he's not going to score in the AHL. And I'll tell you many, many times, from Travis Owanek right through to this past weekend, The scouting directors always say the same thing. Well, we really like what he does. He brings a lot. He's already a mature player in terms of his two-way ability, and we have ways to give him offense. And it does happen, but it's rare. Toe Blake got offense out of Gilles Tremblay. That was 1960. There aren't a lot of other examples. The Buffalo Sabres were able to do that with guys like Craig Ramsey, but it's rare. So maybe Mike Babcock has the magic elixir. If he's still here, maybe the Oilers have found one. I'll tell you what, if their first round draft pick could score 20 goals a year, that would be a dynamite selection. I'm just not convinced he can.
I have other news. Sorry if I'm double reporting on this. Like if it came down the pipe already, I've sort of had a crazy morning. The Panthers acquire rights to Radko Gudas from Ducks for rights to AJ Greer.
That's actually an interesting trade. I think Gudas is done. I love Gudas's game. But Florida is a great place for him because he, chews glass for fun.
Yeah.
But
he can't skate anymore.
No,
he never had hands.
And he gets beaten wide, and he gets beaten inside. When you get beaten wide, that's a problem.
He's slow and can't skate.
Yeah, you can't play anymore when you get beaten wide and inside. So, and Greer, what the hell? Take a shot at it. I like Mike Greer's off season so far. I think he's been brilliant. So that's my feeling on the draft. I think the Oilers got a good guy in the second round. He's kind of a draft and follow, but he has talent, and he's playing in a very good league and a very good system with Modo in the Swedish Junior League. I don't know how much he'll play in the Allsvenskan, which is a high league in Sweden next year, but he has talent. I like him. The OHL kids look okay. We just don't know enough about him. The power forward looks like he might be something, but he's wildly inconsistent. And the goalies are voodoo. I'm not sure what we could say about that authoritatively today. All right. Let me ask you about your Calgary Flames. Did you like their draft?
Loved it. I like Carson Karels a lot. We had Stephen Ellis on what was Kevin Carey's show about a month and a half ago or so, and after the lottery. And he said, oh, I really like Karels. I like him as a fit for Calgary. Carson farm tough Karels, who was at the farm with his family rather than in the green room at the draft. I really like it. A big guy who can skate. He's gonna lay some people out in the boards, and yeah, I think he's gonna stop it. When he comes to the Flames, I think he's gonna be a top pairing guy because he's a lefty, and they need lefties. Quite frankly, there's no more righties spots available. So I like the fact that they have a guy like that, maybe a little more defensively sound, but still has some game on the offensive side of the ball. Or sorry, now the World Cup's in my brain. Brazil just tied it up. Offensive side of the puck. There we go.
Yeah,
that's more like it. Jack Hextall at the end of the first. Jeez Louise. I am also a fan of that. I think Stephen Ellis in total gave the Flames draft an A. Right. So I'm a fan.
Well, they do well at drafting, and they always have. People are the Flames don't naturally draft in the top 5. So when they're making picks, you've got to kind of filter it through the fact that they've often drafted 15 to 30th. They've been a good team for much of the last 40 years.
They've had one top 5 pick the entire time they've been around.
Yeah, no.
Anyone here want to be able to tell me who that pick was?
5. Daniel Kachuk.
No, it was Sean Monahan, picked 4th overall.
Oh, damn it. I wanted Monahan so bad for the Oilers. That was the year Nurse came, right?
Pardon me?
2013, Nurse was drafted?
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah. All right.
Just a fun fact for the day.
Well, and they're very fun. Everybody was like laughing. I heard the laughter in the hallway.
Oh, yeah. Everyone was like, oh, man, Josh, that was so fun.
Yeah.
Here's $1 million.
It feels so weird not to hear Declan talk.
I know, but he's working hard over there.
Oh, no,
so,
I don't want to disturb him. Is he feeling better?
I hope so. No, he gave me he gave me the ça va comme ci comme ça.
All right. Gregor's on at 2:00 today. I think this could be the day Darnell Nurse gets traded. I think it could happen that quickly. I suspect it'll happen before July 1, but I will say again that in my opinion, it would be best for the Oilers not to make a trade. It would stop them from making a big mistake on the 1st of July and allow another team to make that mistake that the Oilers ordinarily do. JMO, but history is on my side. All right, we'll take a break. On the way, rumors. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Mr. Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know. You've done well, Mr. Rooter. You did something awful, but you've covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of nutrition school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Rooter.
Do you have neck or back pain? Ever go for treatment hoping for a simple fix only to realize your stubborn spine is basically a science project with attitude? Hey, we get it. And honestly, we're a little sorry because great rehab does take proper experimenting. But at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we don't just toss exercises into the beaker and hope it doesn't explode. We start with the right diagnosis, then mix hands-on care, precise manual therapy, and evidence-based technology. The formula your body actually needs. Science and skill with gratitude, not attitude. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Looking for a truck that could handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
It's dollar drink summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Alberta is growing, but our highways are crumbling. Are you tired of the rough ride? In the last 15 years, our population has grown with hundreds of thousands more cars and trucks on our highways. Today, more than 15% of Alberta's highways are in poor condition. Cutting highway maintenance doesn't save money. It makes repairs more expensive. Don't let the government ignore the problem. Your MLA works for you. Tell them to fix our roads. Visit fixourroads.com for more information.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. 1224. This is the Mosquito Coast. Wow.
Did you ever see that movie with Harrison Ford and River Phoenix?
Yep.
It's a good one.
Oh, it is. I think it's like Shawshank Redemption in that people maybe didn't watch it because of the weird name, but is a really worthwhile movie. I read Josh Klassen. Apparently 80% of our annual rainfall in the Edmonton area came down in June.
Nice.
And June's not over yet, man.
Well, yeah, it's like 36 more hours.
I always say
35 and a half.
Because I grew up in a rural area, or at least part of my growing up was in a rural area. So I always say, man, it's, never, ever, ever, ever complain about the rain, because the farmers need it and the grass gets green and you can always use rain. But when, you're getting warnings because of the sewer issue, and I drove by on Ray Gibbon today, and the water's high, man.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Cash was out there singing 5 feet high and rising.
Yeah.
It was bad.
So I live right over by a park, like a walking park, has a little river in it and stuff that connects up to the North Saskatchewan. I drove by, I was actually able to see it. It's so high. I've never seen it once in my life. Yeah. And fun fact about the mosquitoes, they're up 10,500% in a month.
That seems a large amount.
It seems big. I don't know how they were like based on mosquitoes caught in certain area.
No, they have ways of tracking.
Yeah. It was like, okay, well, there was 5 in this week, and then in one day they caught 534 and got to a total of blank, and it was like, oh yeah, the 10,583% uptick.
Nice.
So just a little bit.
There's a few NHL players are going to be going 538% uptick in their salaries here in free agency. It's going to be pretty wild. Rumors brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton. It's riding season, and Harley-Davidson of Edmonton has your bike waiting. Huge selection of new and pre-owned, plus test rides are available, locally owned and operated since 1980 on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com. The Oilers have released their, the orientation camp they do. They call it development camp now. Sometimes it's a game on the Sunday, but often it's just a get together to, show these young players what they should be aspiring to in terms of being physically ready and really just to get to know the player, and the players get to know each other. The goalies are Ryan Cameron, Nathaniel Day, Johnny Hicks, Daniel Salonen, and Connor Unger. The invite there is Hicks. Day and Unger are players who I think will probably slide between Bakersfield and Fort Wayne Comets in the ECHL this coming year, along with Samuel Johnson. And we'll see about whether or not they keep a veteran AHL goalie for Bakersfield. So the guys to watch there, Cameron is brand new. We don't know that much about him. But I would say Connor Unger is the player of most interest to Oilers fans. He had a fantastic year at about 5 different ECHL stops, and then played well in a small cup of coffee with the AHL Bakersfield Condors. Among defensemen, Bo Akey, Asher Barnett, who, by the way, should be a rising star for you. You should watch him and pay attention. He had a great year in college, and he is going to be a player. Bauer Berry, Damian Carfagna, I think is NHL ready. We'll see him in the fall as well at main camp. Thomas Sabulka, who was signed in the springtime out of, I think, Czechia. Paul Fisher, who the Oilers acquired in the trades for Broberg and Holloway, and has not signed yet. And that is a concern, but he's going to be at the camp, and he would be a player that I would place along the same trajectory as Carfagna should he sign and come to camp next spring. Chloe Primerino is a invite, and Andrew Robinson is the new acquisition. Don't know a lot about Andrew Robinson except that his goal share in the OHL, which is a terrific year, was outstanding. So he may have some defensive chops that did not show up in the scouting report. The scouting report was really bland, but so is Brandon Davidson. So be aware of that. Among the forwards invited to a development camp by the Edmonton Oilers are Rudolf Verskalens. He's the first pick on the weekend in the second round. He's pretty much fully formed as a defensive checker at center. He can win faceoffs. He can penalty kill. He has a lot going for him. Good foot speed, and he has size. So, if you're checking off boxes, the only one that would be concerned for you is offense. But as Craig McTavish said years ago, you have to be able to move the needle at least a little. So, the comparable I used for him in my article at The Athletic today is Chris Van de Velde, who you might remember they drafted about 20 years ago. And he played 278 NHL games, mostly as a fourth liner. And That's sort of the trajectory for Bruscolins based on his offense. But all the other areas of his game are terrific. And my suspicion is the Oilers are maybe convinced or think they can unlock him a little bit offensively. And that may well be the case, but we'll have to wait and see. Weston Cameron and Abby Murphy, Caitlin Kramer are all invites. Connor Clattenburg, you saw a year ago and liked a lot. He's got better hands than you think he would. Malcolm Gasprin was just drafted on the weekend. He's the Swedish fellow. Caden Harvey is the power forward who's inconsistent. Tommy Lafreniere looks really good. He had a great junior career in the WHL, went to Bakersfield and knocks their socks off in 5 games. He's something. David Lewandowski is on a similar trajectory to Lafreniere. Owen Michaels was signed out of college. He's a right-handed center. You may actually see him in the NHL this year. He's that good, and he has a nice range of skills. He's a righty center. William Nickel is speed to burn. He looked good in Bakersfield, and in addition, after the OHL season, Aiden Park was drafted a year ago. Interesting player with offensive upside. Brady Stonehouse and Dalen Wakely as well. So that's your development camp for the Edmonton Oilers. They just announced that. I wanted to pass it along to you. Something of interest. Do we have any news breaking or anything like that, young Josh?
No, unfortunately, no breaking news quite yet for any of the leagues at all. I'm sort of hoping, you're hoping Darnell Nurse gets traded today. I'm hoping I see the Toronto Raptors and Los Angeles Clippers have reached a deal sending Kawhi Leonard back to Toronto. I am patiently waiting for that news.
I'm not so much hoping for Darnell Nurse to get traded because I think it's dangerous for the Oilers. You know, I would rather the general manager of the Edmonton Oilers go into July 1st free agency with about $800.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be, I would begin to trust the process if that were the case. You can't tell me, and I respect you, you can't tell me it's not possible. The Oilers trade Darnell Nurse, get out of jail free all $9.25 million, and then sink it into somebody else the next day.
Oh, they absolutely would. And but think about the content tide. Think about it.
I've written
the news breaks on your show tomorrow. Darnell Nurse
happen.
Traded, and then you're like, okay, well, you can do this, that, the other thing. Make sure you save this. Don't sign anyone until July 3rd. And then less than 12 hours later, right as the floodgates open, you and I are on air on Canada Day. And we get the news, essentially like what happened with the Kings and Ken Holland last year, where they spent $10.5 million in 10 minutes.
It sounds,
the Oilers do that.
It sounds so good, and yet I know the outcome could be, perilous. So I just feel as though there's always something, right? And with the Edmonton Oilers, July 1st, when's the last? I mean, Zach Hyman was a great signing.
Mm-hmm.
And they have traded for guys and signed them like Matthias Ekholm, and they worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm even prepared to say Connor Murphy and Jason Dickinson could really help this team next year. But, and there's a big but, bigger than my but.
Ooh, that's a big but.
July 1st, baby. The Edmonton Oilers, as a rule, end up spending money on players they have to buy out. Now, I know Jack Campbell was later in July, but the point remains. They have not had a good when Brad Holland was here, they were better, but they're not better again, and they certainly were not better when Ken Holland had Archie Henderson here. So I think their pro scouting is a little bit suspect. And I love that they have an analytics department, but I don't think Oilers fans have a right not to trust the Oilers in free agency. I think that's fair.
Oh, totally. I think we've played this game again of when was their last good signing. I think we agreed that it was Zach Hyman, like their last good July 1 signing. Because like Jack Roslovic for the first half of the season was a crazy good signing. And he basically was a point per game guy through the first 25 games of the season, which helped because there was not a lot to look forward to.
October 9th signing, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He was signed during the home opener.
Yeah. And that's my point, is that they should, I'm not saying don't sign any free agents. I'm just saying don't sign any free agents in the first hour, because there's this fever pitch. And I think the Edmonton Oilers have been bidding against themselves on a lot of these guys. Let the market come to you. It's a thing. And I think the Oilers really absolutely have to do that.
They're just really nervous. This Connor McDavid cloud looming over them. It's like,
but that's the worst time to make a deal.
I know.
You know, I'm sweaty. You know, I'm in a back alley.
Exactly. It is not a good look. However, like, again, over the last, even going into last summer, is Connor going to sign an extension?
Yeah.
Right. And so then they get the Mangiapane signing, which I'm right there with you. I thought it was a great signing. I love Mega Pain.
Yeah. I will never lie to you about, you know, what I endorsed the Chiarelli hiring because I'd seen him in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
He won a Stanley Cup, and I really did think it would work out. And I was more conservative on the Holland signing, but he got him to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final in his 5th year. And we'll see about Bowman. But, I mean, right now, I would say we're probably not giving him an A or a B.
No, honestly, C's get degrees, and I don't think he's got a degree quite yet.
Yeah. The Oilers have issued qualifying offers to defenseman Spencer Stastny, as well as forward Colton Dach, Robbie Yeravente, and Owen Michaels. Those are the ones I predicted in my blog today. If you haven't heard of it, it's called lowtide.ca, and it's really good. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Not like I have $1 million for the design, but Danny did a great job.
Yeah.
And,
well,
so I appreciate that. Is there anything, I do not have access to the internet or.
I don't have access to it either. I luckily do have Twitter notifications for basically everybody on, and I haven't had anything pop up for me yet. So
okay,
we're okay on that front.
And we can't even get people. I thought we could get people to text in, but we need the internet for that. So
Declan's the only one with access to the old text line.
And Declan's not talking to us.
Declan's a busy guy.
I can throw some text at you here.
All
I know
right.
we got to go to break in a minute, but I can throw a couple at you.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, we'll do this kind of randomly. This one comes in from Trailer Park Ryan. I have not proofread this. You guys are getting this the same time I am.
Nice.
Josh actually just read it over my shoulder.
I can't read.
Hey guys, I just saw that the Florida Panthers have acquired the rights to Radko Gudas. Are the Panthers trying to become the Dansbury Thrashers?
They're already the Dansbury Thrashers.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. That said, I mean, I'm a fan of Radko. He just can't skate. You know, I mean, he gets beat inside and outside. A good rule of thumb is, you know, Vincent Desharnais is a gigantor man. But Dan Tenser is a really smart guy. He said to me once about Desharnais, he said he's like a player and a half trying to get past outside and inside. And Radko Gudas used to be like that, but he cannot skate at all anymore. So you can beat him inside, which is death, and outside, which is also problematic. So I think he's done.
This one comes from Griesbach. Tony, nice neighborhood over there on the north side there. Not to dox you if that was supposed to be private information, but he says, hey, Lowetide, I would love a fourth line with Doc, Szymanski, and Klattenberg running amok, but is that too much inexperience?
There's a funny thing that happens with rosters. Yes, it's too little experience, but the other thing is that Trent Frederick's going to play somewhere. And my suspicion is that he'll be they want him so badly on the third line. But he has to turn the needle offensively, you know. Like Frederick that's a tough contract for Bowman right now because he vested 100 years and $3.8 million on a guy who can't score. So they're going to put Frederick in a position to succeed in the fall. But if it doesn't work, then maybe you see Frederick on the fourth line. I think that's the most likely thing that could happen. So I like the idea of the line, but you're right, it's too inexperienced.
And I guess we can read one more before break. This is kind of the fun one of the segment, if you will. The out there, throw it out in the stratosphere, see what comes back. What about Nurse and 5 first-round picks for Hellebuck and Josh Morrissey off the Jets?
Get her done.
It's time to push all the chips in, Ricky and Mooseman. Ricky, I'll take this one. Not going to happen.
5 first-rounders, that's 29, 30, 31, 32, and 33, because the Oilers have traded all the other ones. So.
Sounds like everything would be okay.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's a nice idea. And,
that's like the Paul George trade.
You know what? And it's actually, I will say this, it's not like that's a heck of a reset for Winnipeg. It is not the worst thing in the world.
But the picks are too late.
And they're Oilers picks, so like 3 of those are supposed to be number 1 overall or something.
And this is like a little Josh Morrissey point, like it's the meme of the guy, like me? What did I? Like, well, I don't want out of here.
Whoever gets Hellebuck has, I think, a real big edge. At least until the playoffs. All right.
Gold medal winning goalie.
Yeah. but that's not the Stanley Cup playoffs.
This is true.
Lowdown with Lowetide brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your
Here's Jacob Schaffelberg. Schaffelberg's ball into the box, headed away by Ocon. It's Ustaki. Stoppage time. Into the round of 16 at the World Cup. Stars on the pitch. Japan have stolen it. Sano driving them forward. Still Sano. A goal that will echo from Texas to Tokyo. The Eternal Kings.
Fly ball, right center field. Going back on it is Ewing. Back toward the track, to the wall. It is two-run home run Schwarber. He's given the Phillies the lead. He's the first to 30 home runs this year, and he's the fastest Philly to 30 home runs in the season. It's a 5-4 game. Fly ball, right center field.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. 0% financing right now, up to 72 months on select new 2026 Sierra 1500 models. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. 12:45 as we scoot through the day. Lots going on. We, of course, are monitoring the Edmonton Oilers and what they might do. And so far, they've qualified some of their RFAs, including Owen Michaels, Colton Dock, Roby Yervente, who has signed in Europe, but could re-sign here again. He did it a year ago. We'll see. I think he's gone for at least a year, but they want to retain his rights. And also Spencer Stastny. No surprises there, but it's good to know that they got it done. That would mean that among other players, Matvei Petrov was not qualified. Interesting player. He has skill. With the puck on his stick, he can really dangle. And he's a good penalty killer in the AHL. I think that if he just strictly was a PK guy, he'd be useful in the NHL, but he does not score enough. And that, I think, is the theme of the Oilers draft weekend and a player like Matvei Petrov. They have other guys who can score more and impact the game offensively more. And the hardest thing in the world to do is to score goals in the National Hockey League at 5-on-5. Chris Johnston reporting that Matthias Maccelli will not be receiving a qualifying offer from the Leafs today, making him a UFA. I'm legit surprised by that, but teams with new general managers, they do tend to go in different directions, and that may be a player that they felt like they could move away from. Troy Stetcher is signing a 2-year extension. Josh had this earlier with the Leafs, carrying 1.35 AAV. Florida Panthers have acquired the rights to Radko Gudas from Anaheim for the rights to AJ Greer. Kind of a one-for-one guy's not going to sign with this deal. We've talked about Gudas. Love him as a player, but I think he's done. And Greer, who knows?
Sorry, I love Greer.
He's a good player. I thought maybe for the Oilers, but I think he's going to be too much, right? I think he'll want too much.
Well, he's been on a league minimum, right, for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He's definitely due.
Yeah. The Habs are retaining 50% of Brendan Gallagher's remaining salary cap hit in the trade to Vancouver, which is for futures, which means
nothing.
The Habs said, take half of the money and we'll give them to you. And I mean, this is a proud, wonderful player, Brendan Gallagher, but he's 34. And, the Canucks aren't going anywhere this year. And they do the Habs a favor, and the Habs do Brendan Gallagher a favor. It's not a bad idea.
Do the Canucks get more than 60 points as a team this year?
I'll say 20 wins. After that, I don't know.
Okay.
The Preds have acquired Niels Höglander from Vancouver for a 2029 third-round pick. I like Höglander. Full disclosure, I like him a lot. And just because you failed in Vancouver doesn't mean you're going to fail everywhere. I just asked Vasily Podkolzin.
You want some text?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Let me, you know what? I want to give you this one because this is a player I've always really liked. Never been, he good goal scorer, kind of a unique player in a sense. But here's the question. He says, hey, it's from Rockford. LT, thoughts on unrestricted free agent Anders Lee?
Oh, I like Anders Lee. He's always too expensive, though.
And he's a little past it.
Yeah.
Is he going to eat,
He won't take a cut, and that's the problem. He'll sign with Columbus. Or the Islanders.
I think it's also tough, when you've been a captain of a team. Now, granted, they didn't have success or anything, but when you've been a captain of a team to kind of have to come and just be like the 8th man on the depth chart and fill it, that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, it's also like a guy like Anders Lee. If he wants to win a Stanley Cup, then he takes a cut, and then he goes and he tries to win a Stanley. If he wants to get paid in full, it's Columbus, it's Seattle, it's teams that have a hard time getting guys, but want to get better. The year the Oilers signed Eric Belanger and Cam Barker, it's like that, where you want to get better, but the free agents are like, yeah, no. I think Anders Lee might go the other direction. I think he might sign with a team that he thinks can win the Stanley Cup and that he can help, and that will be, less money that he could get if he was going full bore. Not everybody, he's made a lot of money. Not everybody's about money.
This one comes in from Soft Roll. He says, I want to see a nurse under the staff. I want to see Nurse under this staff before trading him. Don't push a trade this offseason just for the sake of trading him.
I'm absolutely with you on that. The only thing I'll say is that Nurse has enough chaos in his game that I think you could trade his 9.25, come back with a $5 million defenseman who could be as effective and use the 4.25 on a winger. That's my opinion. The problem is, can Stan get it done? And then can he spend the 4.25 on somebody who can really help? That I don't know the answer to. Like if he trades, if he were to trade today, Darnell Nurse to Boston for Michael DiPietro, and then he was to turn around and offer sheet Maverick Bourque, and then because Bourque is a smaller winger, he deals Ike Howard for a young defenseman, and then he signs Ferraro in San Jose to play defense, then that's a pretty good summer. But the Oilers, like there's somebody out there that is 33 years old that the Oilers have always liked, and now there's their chance to get him, and he's 33, and they got enough 33-year-olds. When you're looking at Hyman and Nugent Hopkins, you can love them all day and put them on your roster, but you need the replacement for those players. And, Ike Howard and Matt Savoy might be those players, but does Mike Babcock believe those are the players? I think he would with Savoy if he gets a long look at him. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Is there any major NBA news that we passed up on or didn't look at the beginning of the show?
Oh, there certainly is. There certainly is. So we got 2 more players indicted on point shaving. God. Best league in the world. How do you not love that? And some highlights, some clips came out of Beasley. And yep. It looks about right. The other one, and that's maybe kind of more pressing news, Draymond, or not more pressing news, but maybe just a little bit more positive. Draymond Green declining his $27.7 million player option, and the Golden State Warriors eyeing Anthony Davis in a trade and LeBron James as a free agent.
And James not going back to LA, right?
So, Josh, where do you come out on this one, man? Because here's the thing. I don't think he should. But if you're LA, it's not like he's an invaluable player. He's still very good, and he's still LeBron James. I just think at some point with them, you need to it's such a crazy phrase when we're talking about LeBron James. But I just think at some point you need to cut ties and focus on Luka. And I also think for Braun, his best fit is elsewhere.
I agree. Now, I don't understand. I think Golden State would be great. Him and Draymond are like best friends. Very strange. But Steph can still do it. The guy can still run for as long as he wants, and a jump shot never leaves you. I don't understand where they're like, oh yeah, we got to bring in Anthony Davis to get LeBron James. We saw this in Los Angeles. They won a ring. Oh my God, the sports, they're getting all jumbled in my brain like scrambled eggs. They won a ring in 2020. And then they didn't really have a lot of success after that. And now they're all older. I don't know why you would want to bring in Anthony Davis, who basically hasn't played a game of organized basketball in like a year and a half because he's been so injured, to come and play for your team of what would already be old players.
But here's the thing. I think, I just think he doesn't have to be Anthony Davis in this scenario on that team. He can play.
He doesn't have to be Anthony Davis, but he has to play the game.
That's what I'm saying. He can play like 45, 50 games, be a huge defensive anchor, probably give him a couple 30 bombs, and just be there when they need to be there. Like, he can be what I've said Joel Embiid should be, which is a guy who plays 40 games in the regular season and is healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess so.
And that's what all that matters.
Josh hated that idea.
I do hate that idea. You're paying a guy whatever he's making, $38 million, $44 million. I don't even.
Davis?
Yeah, I don't
try 60.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're paying him $60 million to play 45 games for you and not put up 30 bombs. Just be a defensive anchor. He's still Anthony Davis. He's still a very good player. I'm making it sound way worse than it is. But
that's what you do.
This
here.
sounds like luxury tax hell for the Golden State Warriors, who have been in luxury tax hell for the last dozen years.
They're the one team that's never had a problem paying.
It's true.
Ian Kennedy reporting. We had the names earlier. Abby Murphy, Chloe Pomerano, and Caitlin Kramer have been invited to Oilers development camp. Most recently, we've seen women coaching at NHL development camps first for participation as players. So interesting wrinkle to what the Oilers are doing. When we're looking at the development of women's hockey, it's going to go in some areas where it hasn't been before, and this I think is really interesting. Where you're just kind of getting a taste, if you're a young player, of what an NHL team would go through, and then you can compare it when you get to the PWHL, and what they're doing. So I think it's a positive. I know a lot of people will have opinions on that, but I thought I would recognize that and pass it along. All right, are you up to doing a declinations an hour or two?
Yeah, for sure.
What are we going to do?
Little moment MMA, but I want to talk some boxing as well. Cool. You know what? It was my gym's 50th anniversary this past weekend, Saturday. Went back, saw a lot of old faces, did a little sparring. It was nice.
You didn't get hit in the head, did you?
Yeah, but you know what? It was light. We were touch sparring.
Okay. Wow. The level of skill. All right. On the way, we have Gregor as well at 1:20. We'll, of course, have your comments from Declan, and we look forward to the conversation and maybe a trade. Why not? Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
The Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by elksnation.ca for the best green and cold coverage year round. Visit elksnation.ca. We got articles. Whoops, we got podcasts. We got a ton more. Every game, in-depth analysis, elksnation.ca. Brazil has just taken a 2-1 lead over Japan in the 96th minute of the round of 32 at the FIFA World Cup. Later on today, we will see Germany and Paraguay at 2:30 and the Netherlands and Morocco at 7. MLB scores, White Sox and Orioles will get things going at 4:35. The Blue Jays will play host to the Mets at 5:07. Trey Savage on the bump in that one, and you can hear that one here on Sports 1440, AM dial only, at the conclusion of the Jason Gregor Show. The Edmonton Oilers finished qualifying options for defenseman Spencer Sash, as well as forwards Colton Dockrell, Vierventi, and Owen Michaels. Florida Panthers acquired the rights to Radko Gudas in exchange for the rights to A.J. Greer. Matthias Michelli, no qualifying offer from the Toronto Maple Leafs, will become a UFA. Troy Stetcher remaining with the Leafs on a 2-year extension, a $1.35 million AAV. And former NBA players Malik Beasley and Ed Davis and an NBA agent are among 6 defendants indicted today on charges related to an alleged sports gambling scheme that targeted at least 4 games during the 23-24 season. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station.
CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Mr. Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know. You've done well, Mr. Rooter. You did something awful, but you covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of nutrition school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Rooter.
The Riverhawks are back, and so is the fun. Celebrate girls and women in sports, the Canada Day Party, and Epcor's Foodie Night covered in nacho cheese. Good times and great baseball at Remax Field. Tickets at gohawks.ca.
Guys, there never seems to be enough time in the day, but you need to make time for this. Ken Franchak here. If you're 40 or over, a quick PSA blood test is crucial for early prostate cancer detection. The Prostate Cancer Center's ManVan is a mobile health clinic driving change for men's health. A few minutes could save your life. To get the ManVan out to your business or event, book today at getchecked.ca.
It's cone season at McDonald's, which means vanilla cones are $1 each plus tax in the McDonald's app all summer long. Soft, creamy, and crunchy. For just $1 each plus tax exclusively in the McDonald's app. App download and registration required at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Tired of the rough ride? Alberta used to be a leader in highway planning and construction, but years of neglect and custom maintenance are showing. You can see it, and your vehicle's feeling it. Infrastructure can last for years with a little TLC, but when repairs are deferred, minor issues become major reconstruction. We need action and a reliable capital plan. Contact your MLA and demand stable infrastructure funding. Find out how at fixourroads.com.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
Who, when, where? How much did they get? And who isn't going anywhere? Get every up to the second update on free Agent Day coverage with Lowetide. July 1st from 10 till 1 here on Sports 1440, powered by Booster Juice, because we're gonna need it.
Fly ball right center field. Going back on it is Ewing. Back toward the track to the wall. Phillies the lead. He's the first to 30 home runs this year, and he's the fastest Philly to 30 home runs of the season.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Hour number 2, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Trade in an engine ineligible pickup and receive $1,000 truck and trade in bonus on select Sierra models. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. We have Jason Krueger at 120. We'll talk to Jason about the Elks win, going 3-0. Canada on to the round of 16 at the World Cup. And I think they'll probably play the Netherlands, but we'll see how that goes. And, of course, the Edmonton Oilers at the draft and now waiting for the Darnell Nurse trade and what they might do in free agency. We'll talk to Jason at 120. At 140 today, it's Declanation's Mama MMA, but a little bit of boxing as well. Declan was sparring, went back to the old home gym and knocked some heads. And were you doing the Kramer thing where you're fighting, 8-year-olds, or did you at least pick on somebody your own side?
No 8-year-olds.
All right. Okay. All right. We have just a real quick question for you. How have you enjoyed the World Cup?
Oh, I've loved it. I love the World Cup. Like, I really, really get up for it. I think it's the best tournament in sports, bar none. I think the fact it's once every 4 years just makes it so much more special to me when it does roll around. It's the world's game, the beautiful game. I get that soccer isn't a sport for everyone. I get that some people think it's, boring. You might have a 90-minute match that ends 0-0 or 1-0 with like 11 guys playing behind the ball for 87 minutes. I get all that, but I just really enjoy it. It's the world's event, and I've had so much fun watching it.
Yeah, really. I mean, I try not to pretend I'm an expert and like, do you know what I mean? Like, but I was not happy with the passing. And then I'm like, what the hell do you know? You played when you were 10. I just think it's, maybe I should just enjoy their play and appreciate these great athletes.
My thing when it comes to Team Canada at the World Cup here is like, we are just enjoying the journey. Like, we're not in it to win it. We are enjoying the journey, and we are thinking about how far we've come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is absolutely as high as it's ever gotten. And, back to like 86 or whatever, this is an impossible dream. So you're right. Be happy with that. And what you hope, right, is that all of these cats inspire another generation, and then they reach even higher heights, 10 years from now, right?
Yeah, and like I saw a tweet that when Canada put in the bid in 2017 for the World Cup, for this World Cup, they were ranked 109th in the world, and they had their two most recent wins. One was against Mauritania. I believe the other was against Bermuda. So to see how far they have come in 9 years, it's going to feature into 5 questions today, actually, on the Krueger Show, but it is incredible. It is incredible, and it's such a great sport, and I'm so glad we're on the rise the way we are.
Yeah, it's definitely mercurial. rise for this program. And I, the great thing about it is that I'm not saying they're doing exactly what the women did, because the women flew high as you can fly. They were at the pinnacle of the sport. But maybe these cats are on their way, and maybe they'll match it, 20 years later. Are you leaving, Josh? Josh is leaving now? All right. Bye, Josh. Is this because he had to do the morning show, or just because he doesn't work for a full day now? Well, then why is he leaving? You didn't know he always did the morning. I did know that, but I'm trying to cover for him.
No, so I think if you're just tuning in, you mentioned it a couple times, Lowetide. No Wi-Fi.
Right.
So essentially, this is
right.
How Jason Krueger's show's stream needs to be ran. In addition to that, Connor's obviously not in this week. I'm sitting in for him. Mackenzie's sitting in from the week. No disrespect at all to Mackenzie, but it's obviously a little bit greener.
Well, she's smarter than anybody, but she doesn't have as much experience.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and then that mixed with the Wi-Fi being down, and it's just like, I'm not going to get too technical with it. I'll drop it after this. But if Jason broadcasts from home, it's a really, really, really finicky process to work StreamYard the way it works. With it. So Josh is going home to get a jump on that.
So Jason's from home today?
I'm not sure. We're in contact right now. I'm not sure. Me and you, right? This is like this is like, it feels like September 6th, 2022.
I remember that. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with you.
What were your first thoughts?
With you? I felt like I felt like you were the sort of person, and I've worked with some who are and some who are not, who needed to feel like he was involved in a part of something, and that if I gave you like the declinations, that you'd make a lot out of it, but it would be something that would be a vehicle for you and an outlet for you. A lot of people just shut people up when they're young, and I said, I've always done the opposite. Let them, until they say something that is inappropriate, you just let people roll. And this radio station has benefited from you being like that.
Well, I appreciate that. Great.
Yeah. Well, no, it's true. But just remember to pay it forward. When some young, kid comes up and you're like, God, this guy thinks he knows everything, or girl, then you have to let them prove that they do.
Someone tweeted that remember when I talked about it the other day when we put that was a tough one.
Yeah.
They used 3 pretty harsh descriptors. 2 would have been fine, man. I would have got the message with 2.
But it's like it's always better for a listener to have 2 voices and 2 opinions. And this show is a dynamite example of that. Because if we're talking basketball, I mean, I'm going to 3 to 4 sentences I'm going to check down to Bird and Johnson. But all that stuff, and everything that's happened since. So that makes you a massive positive for this show. And I mean, I don't know how often you crack the mic with Jason. I hear you sometimes, but not a lot. But that will grow over time. And I see you got rid of Carius. Nice job by you young people. Good job. Good effort.
Well, I only did it because I thought it was me sliding in, No, I'm just kidding. No, the thing is with Jason, like this show, I think we have great rapport. I think we have a lot of fun. I think we play off each other very well. And there have been moments where I think to the listeners, it might seem heated or confronted, but like it's very friendly.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very much for the radio.
Yeah.
With Jason, it's a different time slot too. Yeah. And it's so much more buttoned down.
Yeah. And he's got guests. He wants things that he wants to talk about. And we're sort of it's like, remember when you were in high school and you had like science and then math, but in between you had a spare? We're the spare.
Yes. No, Jim.
Okay, even better. Yeah. Because then, like in gym, hell, I gotta go get a drink and you can be gone. You can go home, Jim was always the last. It was on, I think, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and was my last like class. And I lived like a block and a half from school. So I'd go, you play around, depending upon, if it was floor hockey, I stayed the whole time. If we were shooting hoops, I was just awful at it. So I would probably skip out of that. And if it was running or some damn thing or jumping jacks or whatever, climbing the rope. God help us. You would probably been really good at all of that, right?
We never climbed the rope in gym class.
It's so dumb. I mean, all those portly guys had no chance. We could get, rope burns, thighs ablaze, but that was about it.
Did you like run the mile and stuff? We never.
We
did that
ran.
either.
We ran laps. I don't know how long it was, but we ran laps. I mean, look, you've got teenage boys. We're all idiots, and you need to burn out them, like a little bit before they get on the bus. So, you did physical things. Floor hockey was the best. I loved floor hockey, man. All those farm kids, they're just vicious. And then I'd go ever play broom ball against a bunch of farm kids?
Yes, and I liked broom ball a lot.
Yeah, it's a fun game, but it's tough. They're a little tougher than the city kids, they'll belt you a few more times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt they will.
All right. Do we have any text that we can slide in here while we prepare for Mr. Krueger?
Yeah, I have this one from Perplexed Oilers fan. He says Savoy is a great little player, but little. And again, I'm going into this blind, so apologies if along the way this text isn't, you cut me off. Savoy is a great little player, but little. If he's 5'10", I'd eat my shirt. He's 5'8", Howard is 5'10", and looks 2 to 3 inches taller, 15 to 25 pounds heavier. So he's basically Yamamoto, except I think Yamamoto had more success at the same age, and Yamamoto got himself gone because he's too small. They traded McLeod for Yamamoto. Kind of a workaround way about, I think, saying, what's the future look like for Savoy?
Well, Yamamoto was 5'5" and 150. So
he was tiny.
Oh yeah,
man.
and he was very, very small player. That said, I hear you. I think you have room for one or two smaller guys. Nuge, I think, is going to check down to the third line. We'll see. I think you can run Savoy. The question I have, and I've asked it many times, is can you run Savoy and Ike Howard in the top six? And I'm not sure you can. Now, you have some size in Podkolzin and Leon Draisaitl, and McDavid he's just no wallflower. He'll hit, and he's got some, he'll cross-check you. So there's some attitude there. But do you need, do you keep Savoy and run a bigger player in lieu of Howard and then move Howard for something else? I don't have the answer to that, but I think those are things that the coaching staff and the management have to look at, and I would not be terribly surprised if Ike Howard got moved. You might want to build more value this year during the season and then move him at the deadline. But yes, it's a concern for sure. But I would just push back on Yamamoto and Savoy being the same size. Both are smaller, but Savoy is a bigger player overall. Got another one?
Let me check here. Let me see what we got. We got a couple good NBA texts in. I like it. I like that. This one comes in from a first-time texter. Send us your name so we can put you in the system. I read an article from the Hockey News that says Edmonton is looking at Freddie Anderson in net. Ellipses.
Well, I'd like that. I think Freddie Anderson is a really good goaltender, and he played on the Stanley Cup winner. He was fantastic in Toronto. He is a little bit injury prone, as is Jari's not necessarily, but he's had injuries. He did last year. That tandem would need, I think, a really good third option, and maybe that's one of the kids. Whether it's Samuel Johnson or Connor Unger on the farm. But I'm not opposed to it. I think there's a lot of things about that are really good. It's a good idea, put it that way.
I love the idea of Freddie Anderson. You know what? Freddie Anderson was well on his way to winning Conn Smythe. So
I think he was certainly, it's fair to say he was in the zone, right? Like he was part of, you could see him getting there. Yeah.
This one comes in from Noel Rinsky, because you've obviously been a big proponent of the young guys, or getting younger on the roster, I should say. He says, Savoy, Szymanski, Podkolzin, and Emerson Howard. How many more young guys do you want?
Well, okay, it's a great question you ask.
Thank you. What came from right up here.
Here's what you want. You want replacements. So you're never going to find a replacement for McDavid or Draisaitl. So don't even think about it. You'll be rebuilding for 3 years when they're gone. So you have Nugent Hopkins on left wing. You need to replace him. Savoy is the guy. So you check one. Podkolzin's fine on the second line because he's 25. So you've got Savoy and Podkolzin on left wing. Draisaitl and McDavid, you're never going to move them. Now over on the right side, you have Hyman, who's 33. So you need another Hyman. Is it Ike Howard? I don't know. Ike Howard is a legit player, but Hyman is a really different sort of a fella. He's MacGyver out there. He does a lot of things that a lot of players don't do. So you need a net front presence to replace Hyman. They don't have that guy. I don't know who it is. If I did, I'd tell you. But they don't have a guy for that. And then last year they had Kasperi Kapanen on the right side. Is Howard that guy? Maybe he is. I don't know. So I think they're just fishing, right? On the right side, they probably could add somebody for the second line, hoping they'd be the top line guy. That's why Jordan Kyrou, for me, was such a great target. He's 28. He could be here for 5 more years before he hits 33. He'd be the kind of guy you're looking for. So it's not, you say, well, you got a lot of, well, can't you have more youth? It's not like Ike Howard is not a perfect replacement for Zach Hyman. And they don't have a second line right winger. So those are holes they need to fill. And you always want to have somebody coming up. Ike Howard is bona fide. He's a shooter. They need that kind of guy. So maybe he's on the second line. But then you still need to shop for eventually the replacement for, Zach Hyman. And I really like Colton Dach. I think he does a lot of really good things. But to get from Colton Dach to Zach Hyman is a several-day trip. I don't know how you replace Zach Hyman, but the Oilers will eventually have to because time is undefeated. So that's how I feel about that. What say you, Declan? Should we take a break now for Gregor, or do we know if he's in transit? Or no, I don't think he's going to be on the phone. Okay, well, then let's take a break, and then we'll talk to Gregor, and we'll find out what he thinks about the Nurse deal, about the draft, about the Elks, and, of course, about the soccer. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. Fun and friendly with morning rates Monday to Thursday. Just $65 for 18 holes with cart. $55 for seniors. Includes a $5 food voucher for dining at Cattail's Out of Bounds restaurant. There's early bird golf Saturday and Sunday. $50 for 9 holes with cart and snack voucher. 9 and dine Fridays after 4. $130 per pair for 9 holes cart and a $40 Out of Bounds gift card. Plus, Glow Golf every second Friday and bring your dog golfing on Mondays. Visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Are you a skilled laborer? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with track hoe or backhoe experience? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with track hoe or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
A huge thank you for making Sports 1440 the most listened to sports radio station in Edmonton. From Gregor to Carius to Lowetide, we've got in-depth analysis on all your favorite sports. We are Sports 1440.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Diamond Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Looking for a truck that can handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit japaequipment.com or stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Always available at wolfgmcbuick.com. Check them out online. 120. And right now, it's time for the headliner of the day. Jason Krueger, brought to you by Faber. Cash flow crunch. Got your business on the sidelines? Schedule your free consultation with Faber's licensed
radio.
fees to get back in the game. Visit faber.ca. So much
Your radio circle.
draft. Darnell Nurse, possibly being dealt free agency, what the needs are. And do we have him? All right, beautiful. Jason Krueger joins us now. Jason, how are you, man?
I'm good, LT. You?
Staying out of trouble. I don't like mosquitoes anymore. Not that they were friends of mine, but I can't wait for the dragonflies.
Dragonflies. All right.
They take care of the mosquitoes. So, how is it out where you are? Are you is the water rising and the mosquitoes are too?
Oh yes, the mosquitoes are very prevalent in the grass. It's tough to go for a walk, but they're now it's smoky. I thought all the rain we wouldn't be smoky. What the hell is it smoky out for today? That's part
Well,
of it.
it seems like every summer now, man. I don't remember the last time we didn't have at least some problems with the smoke, and it's bad for anybody with breathing issues or whatever. So let's get to it. Let's start here with the Edmonton Oilers. The draft comes and they make a trade down. They ended up with 5 selections. What were your thoughts on the Oilers in the draft?
Well, they didn't have a top pick, so you know what? I'm my biggest pet peeve, Al, is the winners and losers articles that come out the day after the draft. I'm sorry, because the author always bases it on the people that he likes. So I don't know enough about any of these players to have an educated opinion. I've read up on what other people think of them. I can look at the average, second rounder and say, hey, maybe he'll work out. And then after that, it's a real crapshoot to think, it's pretty low % chance. And you know what? Well, it's all about developing the players. And you hope that some of those guys pan out and become maybe better than an average second, third, fourth round pick would be, right? Like I know that Burst Collins, they like his size. Gaston, Robinson, Harvey, 2 guys in the same team. I don't really know much about him. And then they did draft a smaller goaltender, which is a little interesting, but it's a 7th rounder. And I've never seen Ryan Cameron play, so I'm not going to pretend to have any sort of educated opinion on him.
The development count list is interesting. Going to get a look at some players who are might be a part of the Oilers' future. Damian Carfagna is going to be there. I think they're Bo Iki had some injury issues, a former second rounder, but he's a guy that they'll bring to camp as well. And it feels like Rick Tracy has a style now. 3 drafts in, I think he likes 2-way players who have a range of skills. I'll use Sam O'Reilly and Bruce Collins, the first pick this year. They're centers. They have a little bit of size and speed, but they, as far as the making the defensive adjustment, they kind of are already there. They just need to mature as players. Do you think the Oilers are maybe getting they don't, as you say, they don't have a first round pick, so the high skill guys are gone. Maybe there's a sort of a type of player that Tracy and the staff like?
I don't know. I think they look at it from year to year, and you always go with, quote, the best player available. I know it seems boring and cliche, but it makes sense. Like, you're not going to draft for a defenseman in the 4th round because you think you need a defenseman. Like, you're not going to know if you need a defenseman in 5 years. So I don't you take the best player for a variety of different reasons. The best player isn't always the biggest guy. But obviously, if you look at Burrs Collins, big, strong center iceman. But other than that, the other guys are 17. And what was interesting is they didn't, their first 3 picks were all guys who were, and actually their first 4 picks are all guys who were legit 18, right? Like Ryan Cameron is a second-year draft eligible goaltender. So that's it. But usually we've seen them take older players. This time they went with all young guys.
The Oilers are waiting to move Nurse. They're obviously got their eyes on some free agents on July 1. They qualified the RFAs they were interested in today. Any feeling that you have as they head towards free agency? Are there guys that you think they might look at, or is it just a matter of making sure that Nurse's deal is off the book so they can go shopping if it comes to that?
Well, I don't know how much shopping. They obviously need a goaltender. That's priority number 1. Come on. You need 2 NHL goalies. They only have 1 under contract. So to me, that's the most obvious pressing free agent signing for the Oilers. Find out, is it going to be Connor Ingram? Is it going to be Tarasov? Who's it going to be? So that would be number 1. Now, if there's a trade, obviously they're going to bring back a player in that trade. This is not going to be for picks or prospects. At least I'd be stunned if that was the case. Like, I think Darnell Nurse has some value. So I would look at it that way. Then I would look at and see. Ideally for me, Al, I think a right shot center. I know the organization said it isn't a must-have, but it's a like-have. So there are some options out there. Colton Dock was qualified today, and he'll sign. Like, they've got 11 forwards already under contract. Dock will be 12. If they bring a forward back in Nurse, well, there's 13. So you get a right shot center away. Like,
I'm not one who is going to say that
he is 100% Josh Szymanski, a lock to make this team. I don't think that's the case. So I kind of want to see how he develops. He'll come to camp and maybe he's ready. Awesome, but he's just not a lock for me. If there's a right shot veteran to center ice, that would make the competition more fierce.
Do you think there's any possibility that they have a new coach? They're looking at optimizing this team and running it back to the Stanley Cup final as they did a couple of years ago, and then the previous year. Do you think there's any possibility that Ike Howard might be in play here over the summer?
Anything's possible. What you just traded for him, you traded away a good young prospect for him. He's probably your best pure shooting prospect in the organization. Could you trade him for sure? But he's going to cost you very little. He might give you 15 to 18 goals, which would be great value for what he's bringing. So again, it all depends on the return for me. I just like the Oilers have about 7.14 million in cap space. They've got 18 players signed, so you got to fit at least 4 players, I would think. Maybe 5 if they want to keep the full roster. So I don't think they have a boatload of cap space. And I'd kind of like to see Ike Howard first. Like, how many guys score 24 goals in 47 AHL?
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. If they trade Nurse, we've talked about this before, but the first concern I have, I love Ekholm as a player, and I think Wallman, when he's healthy, can do a lot of things. But there is, the age and then the injury to worry about. How substantial do you think the replacement for Nurse has to be? They have Stastny, but he, I don't think that he can handle third line, and then maybe Wallman second pair, but you'd need a little bit of insurance because Stastny, I don't think you can slide him up to the second pair. Am I wrong?
Oh God, no. I'm not sold. He's a lock third pair guy. Like, I know they qualified him today, but when I look at Stastny, Al, like what is the element that he brings? He's not a great puck mover. He's not a great skater. He's not overly physical. So what's his identity? What does he bring? Where you're saying, like Ty Emerson, physical penalty kill. That's what he is, right? I'm younger guy, but that's what he is. I don't really know what Stastny is. Al, like anything I saw last year, I was kind of like, he's just a guy, really. So, I would look at his, if they could upgrade on the third pair left defense and get a little bit more size. I would be all for it, because otherwise, like if Stastny and Emerson are your third pair pairing. It's not ideal, in my opinion. So I definitely think that there's room to improve there for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about World Cup soccer. That victory, I mean, it's been years since this nation has been, hoping for a goal at the World Cup and to get to the World Cup. Now they're in the round of 16. This is a pretty heady World Cup on North American soil for Team Canada.
Yeah, it's big. I think we all people are talking about one of the biggest games, and I'm like, okay, let's pump the brakes here. It was they've beaten. They've gotten points in the games where they've been the favorite, and they lost the game where they were the slight underdog. So, great for them. Don't get me wrong, and it's big, and people watch it. And I talked to people who are in the building in LA, and obviously when Eustáquio scored, it was unreal. So it's good to see progression here. Now, if you can win the next game, Al, now we're talking, right? Now we're like, okay, let's see what we got, right? Because tonight we got the Netherlands and Morocco. And whoever wins will play Canada. Canada's going to be the underdog regardless of who they're playing. If you could find a way to win that match, well, now we got something. Because I look to me, you need Kyle Larin in the lineup. They need a pure finisher, right? I would have him start the next game, no questions asked for me. And, we saw Alphonso Davies just when he came in, just his ball touches. Clearly, it'd be great if he could maybe play 30 minutes in the next game. I don't think he's at the point we can start. Maybe you could start.
You get a half out of him. I'm not sure or not. So we'll have to see.
It's a fun time of year for sure. We haven't talked about the Jays at all. They're they can't keep losing. They're a team that they need an 8-game winning streak for sure. But their bullpen is problematic. And my favorite baseball player, Vladimir Guerrero, is having a very poor year. Can't hit the home runs. Is it just going to, go down the drain as one of those years where nothing rhymed for the Blue Jays?
Man, every time they get to 500, it's like they get scared that they're good. And then all of a sudden they go on a lengthy losing streak. I think they've gotten to 500 3 times this year. And every time they've had at least a 4-game losing streak followed up right after it. So they can't get enough timely hits when it matters. And now they're giving up way too many runs in the first inning. What is that? The last 4 games, the starting pitchers have allowed to run the first inning. So, now you're playing catch up on an offense that just Vladimir Guerrero, Al, is an absolute shell of himself. You look at how often he barely hits the ball, little dribblers to the infield. They're not even hard to defend. You watch his body language, it's awful. So I don't know how to get out of it, Al. He's obviously got to do maybe extra work with the batting coach or something, but it is not fun to watch right now at all for him. Now, who knows? Maybe Bo Bichette comes to town and they go for dinner and they're really close friends. And, Bo Bichette's not having a great time in New York and Vladdy's not having a great time without Bichette, but who knows? Maybe a dinner together will help them before they play tonight.
That's not a bad idea. Final one, the Elks. We talked about it last week. They're 3-0. Are the best team in the CFL? I don't know, but you've talked, Jason, about them. Their offensive, play calling being less than optimal. Do they have another gear from 3-0?
Yeah, I would think so. When their receivers can catch the ball on a more regular basis, that's really going to help them. You look at just some of the drops they've had all year long. That's been a consistent issue for this team. So will that change? Will they fix it right away? Probably not. It's going to be something that takes a while for them to do. So, we'll see where that goes. Then I've really liked their defense, man. And, even without Nick Anderson, their defense was good in the last game. And now their defense is going to have to be good against BC. I know BC's 0-3, but I think they're better skill-wise than their record. They've had some injuries, obviously, at the receiver position. We saw Hatcher come back and look at the game he had, but he's kind of one guy. And I'm sure Edmonton's going to look to say, okay, let's try to limit this guy and see if they can beat us elsewhere. But they'll go into BC, not obviously in BC Place. They're on the road in a smaller venue. And, we'll see. 3-0 versus 0-3. Are they the best team, Al? I think it's a fair question to ask. It's hard for me to say they're the best team, but they got the best record. Yeah. And you are what your record says. They're deserving of it. They probably could have spanked Winnipeg in that game if they had punched some plays. Like, if Luther doesn't bobble the ball, he's in the end zone, right? Yeah. There's an extra 4 points on that one. And then, not 4, 7, because that was on third down. And then you look at the other one where they, after the Ford fumble recovery, where he took the lateral and got down inside the 5, and they did nothing there. So there's lots of room for me offensively for this team to keep growing.
What's coming up on the show, Jason?
Well, we're going to talk a little green and gold, of course. Mark Killam, the head coach of the Elks, will join us at 3:20. Kevin Woodley will be by. We're talking goaltending as well. Also, we're going to talk some World Cup. Of course, a huge win for Canada. Now they get some time off. How much time off can help some of their guys? And, you only have 5 substitutes, Al. And if it's going to be that hot in Houston, how is that going to impact it, right? Like, can you even start Alphonso Davies knowing that he's on like a time count, right? Or maybe you just have to wait to see how the game goes to put him in, because, can you only put him in with 50 minutes left because you're not sure he can make it through the extra time? So I don't know. So there's lots of those kind of questions. And Al, just an unbelievable run here in the NHL of trades and moves. And, we had more trades today. Rare to see the rights of players traded, both of them veterans in Radko Gudas and AJ Greer. But that's where we're at right now in the NHL. They're looking at all sorts of trades. So we'll touch on that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. All right. Look forward to the show. Thank you, Jason.
Have a good one, Al.
There you go. Jason Krueger will be live on the radio at 2 o'clock today. And a reminder, on July 1st, it's Canada Day, but it's also NHL Free Agency Day. I'll be here with Josh Fenwick and various guests as we slide through the morning between 10 and 1 and the start of free agency, and what early hours will tell us about the Oilers and across the NHL. There's not a lot of free agent talent per se, but there's a lot of money. And so I think we're going to see a combination of signings, but also trades as teams try to offload players and then add some players on other teams that maybe they like but couldn't afford before a previous deal. I know Boston and maybe even Pittsburgh are in that position, Reed, Darnell, Nurse. So it's all straight ahead, and we will have it for you, and definitely be here Wednesday between 10 and 1 as we talk free agency. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
A huge thank you for making Sports 1440 the most listened to sports radio station in Edmonton. From Gregor to Curious to Lowetide, we've got in-depth analysis on all your favorite sports. We are Sports 1440.
Looking for a truck that can handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Mr. Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know. You've done well, Mr. Rooter. You did something awful, but you've covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of nutrition school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Rooter.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit JapaEquipment.com or stop our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
It's Dollar Drink Summer at McDonald's. Sip on a refreshing small fountain drink or a small iced coffee for just $1 each plus tax, all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Excludes flavored and cloud iced coffees. At participating Canadian restaurants. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Lux Windows was founded in 1969 with 5 people and a dream. 55 years later, Our team of experts cares a whole lot about building and installing the best possible windows and doors. Because Lux is not just an Alberta-made product. We're one big Alberta-made family. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
To the person who muted the work chat before their boss sent out the "have a great long weekend" message, hi, your Safeway PA announcer here. Your secret's safe with us. Let's kick the weekend into high gear with fresh quality burgers, kebabs, sausages, and steaks. Everything your tongs have been waiting for all week. So leave the conversation on red and enjoy every single day off at the grill. For quality meat, visit a Safeway near you.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. We're at 1:41, 19 minutes before 2 o'clock. Time for Declinations, brought to you by the Edmonton Elks. The Elks' next home game is Thursday, July 9. I come see the most explosive player in the CFL, Justin Rankin. 3-0 Elks. Lock in your tickets at goelks.com/tickets. Now, with Declinations, Mama MMA, and Little Boxing. Declan Krueger.
This segment a little shorter than I thought because I had a guest fall out, so I'm just scrambling a little bit here. But yeah, listen, Rafael Fiziev, one of my favorite fighters. A lot of people thought when he fought Justin Gaethje twice and lost both those fights, it was kind of over for him. He's obviously rebounded very well, and he's just a heck of a fighter. One of my favorites to watch. Jaron Boots Ennis, he unified the 154-pound titles this past weekend. Great fight for Xander Sayas, and he is just a tremendous boxer, ton of fun to watch. And that's kind of all I have today. I wish I had more. I was planning on having more, but
who was your guest?
It was a Rangers guest. Not for this segment.
Oh,
it was for Jason's show.
Oh, so you need to work on a guest now. Okay.
I wish I had more. I was excited for this one. Unfortunately, the cookie is not broken my way, so I'm gonna have to probably end it.
Well, that's it. Thanks for coming. It's like, this is the shortest concert. What's the shortest concert you've ever been to where they just stop playing?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. The other thing that doesn't make it all the more easy for us is obviously Josh went home.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of cute though. Like we're just telling people what we're doing, and it's like, these are professional broadcasters, but this is putting, we talked to Lansky about the furious chaos that occurs in a broadcast. Well, that's what we're experiencing right now. Everybody's a real pro doing it, as long as Josh can drive carefully and obey all signs. We got Mackenzie, running around here, and I'm doing what I do best, which is sitting and talking, and glad to do it. All right, so I can move on about other subjects, and you're going to get a guest. Okay. We talked about the orientation development camp and the roster that the Oilers have. It's an interesting one. The first round, or the picks from 2026 are there. Some of the 2025s as well, like Lafreniere and Lewandowski. Gone are the days where you could put it in the old Rexall and fill the place just for free on day one because people wanted to see McDavid. Those days may return, but it's a little different vibe now. However, in a way, it's just as important and maybe even more important that these players develop quickly. Among the folks who are going to be down there, I really do think Lafreniere showed a lot when he was in Bakersfield in those 5 games. And I think William Nickel did too. And Damian Carfagna and Bo Akey are really fine young defensemen. And Connor Unger really showed a lot during the wintertime at various locations in the ECHL. And a little bit of time that he spent in the AHL. So there's something there, and worth, if you're heading down and going to have a look and keep updated on everything. This is a worthwhile group. They're maybe not as front and center and obvious future NHLers as in previous years, but they've got talent. And I do think that Rick Tracy and his staff are drafting a certain kind of talent. I would always prefer, and my book talked about, always draft skill. If there's a 5'7" guy in the 7th round who has skill, draft him. The Oilers haven't done that in the last while, and they've gone with guys who might end up being really good third-line centers, like their top pick this year. The caveat, of course, is maybe they feel like there's something they can unlock in the player offensively, and you might poo-poo that or joke about it, but one of the things I've learned over the years in watching the Oilers, both with Gretzky and with McDavid, is when you have a superior hockey player, like an elite talent, if you place him with players who are young, they can develop quickly and score a bunch more goals than maybe you thought they could. And I think we may be seeing that with Matt Savoy right now, playing with McDavid. He really spiked. If you look at the time that he spent with the McDavid line, he was over 2.5 points per 60, I believe, at 5-on-5. People forget that, but it's real. And Savoy is lucky to be there, but the Oilers are lucky to have him because he's a player who can, at not a high cap hit, really fill out that line and help them cash goals. The reason we need that is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was there, but he's not as talented offensively on that left wing as he has been in the past. And that's not his fault. That's just time and age. He's definitely going to be a useful player on this team, but maybe not on the top line. The Oilers have to do is find another Zach Hyman. It will be interesting to see how Mike Babcock sees this roster in the fall, because I picked Colton Dach as the guy that I think Babcock will like a lot, because he does many things, crash and bang, but he also has a little bit more offensive skill than maybe you think he would have. He's got, I think, 20 points in 86 NHL games, and that's playing mostly with depth help. If he gets on I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if he gets on a line with a high-end skill guy at center, he might score 30 points, and then you might have another Podkolzin. Not saying it will happen, but I do think that's what the Oilers look for. And Bruce Collins, the first pick this year, he might be another that they feel has enough offense to and does everything else well to be a productive player with this team. And I think Lafreniere and Lewandowski are another two examples of that. There seems to be a style and type of player that they're going after. Good speed, reasonable size, has the two-way ability, the chops to do that down, and now it's a matter of how much offense can they deliver. The Montreal Canadiens used to do this forever, just so you know. And it works if you can find a way to have them score 23 goals like Bob Gainey did every year. And Gainey was a freak, but you get my point. So I wanted to mention that as part of the draft, because I think they are, in that development mode with that kind of player. And maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but they obviously didn't feel like drafting another smaller player with more skill was the play there in the 2nd or 3rd round, although the 3rd round guy has some ability. So we'll see how it goes. As far as the Darnell Nurse situation is concerned, I think it'll happen when it happens. I don't think it's a bad thing that the Oilers may go into free agency with not a lot of money. If you go back and look at free agency and the Edmonton Oilers beginning in 2016 with Milan Lucic, now in 2015 they signed Andres Sekera. That was a very astute signing. At the time, I think he was the top available defenseman in terms of quality, and they signed him, and he got hurt in 2017's playoffs, but he was money before then. And veterans get hurt. That's sort of, one of the risks you take when you sign a free agent to a long-term deal. What's out there in free agency for the Oilers? Not a lot. Ferraro, the defenseman in San Jose, is an interesting idea. Were they to trade Nurse? Maybe they could pursue that. I don't know what the cost is going to be. There's not a lot of talent compared to historic free agent pools in the NHL, but there's a lot more money. And that is a danger zone. Kenny Loggins is warming up, ready to sing that song based on how the Oilers are. They overspend and they get an under-delivery pretty much every year in free agency. Remember the lesson of last year, and hopefully Stan Bowman remembers that Andrew Mangiapane was signed on July 1st, and Jack Roslovic was signed on October 9th. There's always guys at the end of free agency who didn't get a chair. You know, the Arizona Coyotes used to do this years ago, where they'd sign 3 guys right before training camp, and they'd come in and the guy would score, 15 to 20 goals for them. You know, there's always a Chris Versteeg. There's always a Jack Roslovic. The Oilers could take advantage of that. And even if it doesn't work out, at $1.5 million, it's way different than a 5-year deal with no movement clause, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. They've already signed their long-term deals with Connor Murphy and with Jason Dickinson. And so there's not a need, I don't think, unless it's there. You know, Jordan Kyrou was there. Maverick Bourque is available possibly via an offer sheet. Maybe there's a player out there that they could trade for. Maybe. But unless it's a clear upgrade, like if the Oilers started the year with Savoy, McDavid, Cassian, Podkolzin, Draisaitl, and Ike Howard, I wouldn't be that upset. I think all of those guys have top 6 skill, and Howard would be the inexperienced player, and maybe you switch him up and you play Howard with McDavid and you play Savoy with Draisaitl because everybody would have the right-handedness. I don't know, but I think those 6 are pretty damn good. And remember, players who are possibly shy offensively get a boost. McDavid floats all boats. Draisaitl floats them too. Take advantage of that. If the Oilers are looking for a center because they want to play Draisaitl and McDavid together, maybe you bring in Claude Giroux, but I don't think he'd come out west. There's not a lot. There really isn't. That's why they signed Jason Dickinson. People were mad as hell about the Dickinson signing, but now you have him. Everybody else is like, well, that's too much. Okay. But now who has a third-line center and a fourth-line center like Dickinson and Szymanski? And Gregor said, good point about, maybe Szymanski doesn't make the team. That's fine. Then you've got him as a recall option. And maybe you can get a right shot centerman to play the fourth line. Maybe you start the year with Lazar, or you aim a little higher than that. Not a lot out there. We'll see how it goes. And I do think that trades will be a part of this offseason for the Edmonton Oilers. We'll see how it goes. In regard to the World Cup, we find out today as the Netherlands play. Is it Morocco?
Yes.
Okay. And either whoever wins, they'll still be favored over Canada, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And has it gone according to Hoyle here? Like Brazil, all that we're expecting the results we're getting?
Yeah, Brazil was in a bit of a scary one against Japan today. Japan led that one. They drew it late, then scored in extra time. I would say, yeah, through the first 2 games of the knockout stage, obviously when you talk about who made the knockout stage period, maybe a little bit more surprising than you thought. But of the 2 games we've seen, I think both went according to plan.
And we expect Germany to win the next match?
Yeah, if Paraguay beats Germany, it's a little like throw the book out. We don't know.
Is it Paraguay or Uruguay that had a bunch of World Cup victories back in the 20s?
Well, Uruguay won the first World Cup in 1930.
Right.
And they've won one more since, I believe. But then they also have Olympic victories before that.
Mm.
They're the better footballing nation.
Okay. All right. Just trying to think of anything we haven't talked about. Talked about the Elks, talked about the Jays. I don't know what to say about the Jays, honestly. I was watching the Bo Sox and the Yankees last night, and the Yankees don't have any bats. They got Ben Rice and then Jason Dominguez, who still is not a hitter that they wanted him to be. They got a bunch of platoon bats who are, basically DFA'd once or twice a year. They're bad. The Boston Red Sox won 4 in a row, swept the series after losing to Colorado. The AL East is there. I mean, Tampa Bay is good, but they're not consistent. And the Jays are just poking along like a Sunday driver, which is what Karen calls me when I'm driving. But Jays, You get a 9-game winning streak, and the whole world looks differently. Look at the Bo Sox. They're 4.5 out right now. Win some damn games. All right. I hear the music coming, and that means that Jason Krueger is on the way. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown today. We had some technical glitches, but you hung in, and we did too. We're proud that we got here. Please enjoy your day. Krueger on the way.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of RE/MAX Real Estate. For your next move in the Edmonton or area, call or text Sean at 780-265-0165. That's 780-265-0165. Edmonton Oilers have issued qualifying offers to defenseman Spencer Sashin, as well as forwards Colton Dock, Robbie Arventi, and Owen Michaels. Florida Panthers acquired the rights to Ragnar Gudis in exchange for the rights to A.J. Greer. Troy Stetcher staying with the Toronto Maple Leafs on a 2-year extension, a $1.35 million AAV. Still in Leafs news, Matthias Michel, even though qualifying offer, will become a UFA. Also, in the sporting world, former NBA players Malik Beasley and Ed Davis, plus an NBA agent among 6 defendants indicted today on charges related to a sports gambling scheme. In the World Cup earlier, it was Brazil over Japan 2-1, the winner coming in the 96th minute. Germany and Paraguay will be up in about half an hour's time. Netherlands, Morocco at 7. And in the MLB, the Jays will play the Mets as they play host. Trey Savage on the mound, 5:07 first pitch. For that one, I'm Declan Krueger. Up next is the Jason Krueger Show. This has been Sports 14.